So, this is Alaska. Is my adventure about to begin? Ron was momentarily stunned, trying to persuade Chris. Are you sure this is a good idea? Chris confidently countered. Ron, life is like a dance. You need to step out of your comfort zone and just go for it. Let me draw up a life plan for you, and don't be frightened. Kind of like that frog, just sitting in the water, waiting to turn into a prince. Subtitles. Right. Today I am going to transform into a frog and teach you how to help. Come on, give it a try to help. Chris kept cheering Ron on from the mountaintop while Ron, panting and catching her breath, lamented, I should have trained more. Two men, half a century in age gap, rest at the peak. Chris says, joy is everywhere, let's find it. Ron nodded firmly, I will transform my life. Of course, forgiving is key. Being self-absorbed could lead you down the wrong path. You know, life is just one big, weird play, right? When you love it, the stage of life lights up. I'm throwing out these golden nuggets, how great is that? The topic of forgiveness felt heavy, so Chris covered her confusion with laughter as if laughter could entangle everything. Finally, the moment arrived, and Ron and Chris reluctantly parted ways, as if performing an epic farewell scene. With tears glistening in her eyes, Ron was filled with adoption thoughts, saying, can't you just let me keep a little peace? But Chris, firm as a rock, said, I absolutely must keep moving forward or face a marathon of feelings. After nearly 2 years of wandering, Chris finally set foot in far-off Alaska, a sort of final destination. She dove headfirst into the snow-covered mysteries as if she were a mysterious Alaska adventurer. Walking on snow felt like stepping into a new world, and crossing rivers felt like breaching magical barriers. Discovering the old bus felt like a secret base gifted by the heavens. Well, this is my magic, but just hope it's not a magical disaster. Standing on top of that magic bus, I felt like Harry Potter shouting, here, I shall save the world. Subtitles. Getting up close and personal with nature. Chris was like a time traveler, lost in the boundless freedom and joy. Sounds of nature were music to her ears, and Chris ran through the wild like a kid, happy as a little Peter Pan. Occasionally, she'd stand triumphantly at the snowy peaks, raising her hands. Look, I conquered this place. At night, Thoreau and Tolstoy became her daytime guardians, letting time slip away like water. But weeks later, Chris realized her food was running low, and it was time for hunting adventure. With natural groceries, she managed to continue wandering in the wilderness until spring arrived. One day, she unexpectedly hunted a huge gyration, marking her peak hunting moment. She recalled the processing method taught by farm workers and rapidly dissected her catch like it was a race. Unfortunately, lacking experience and with such a big catch, she felt a bit frantic. 2 days later, she discovered her meat feast had turned into a worm party. She wrote in her journal, this is a nightmare. I might as well take a nap. This is my greatest tragedy. After some time of sadness, Chris had an epiphany while reading Tolstoy, as if her heartstrings were being played. Harmony of body and mind leads to travel across the world. To be happy, one must have companions. Deep inside, ideas about happiness ignited a flame in Chris, suddenly illuminating her path home. I'm going home, and even my boring coach deserves a hug. She hastily packed her bags, determined to leave the wilderness with a clear direction in sight. With the evening sun, the way back glowed with spring warmth, appearing infinitely tempting. The owl perched on the tree still had many thoughts, but the riverbed once again roared with waves. She saw the marks she left, now unreachable, mentally telling herself, this can't be. Unsure, Chris tried to traverse the water and ended up falling into the rushing river. It was just too dramatic. Desperately, she grabbed a branch, as if engaging in a battle of life and death. The way back was blocked, so Chris helplessly returned to the magic bus and began writing profound insights. Loneliness and fear intertwined. The wilderness became the magician of my heart. However, all small wild animals seemed gone. She wondered, where'd they go? Chris grew thinner, almost becoming a wilderness ghost, and without supplies, she thought, who cares? Ron's belt got a little quirky, and she tried finding delicious fruits in the wild. However, upon waking, Chris suddenly felt extremely weak, thinking, what is going on?